All right, all right. What's going on? What's going on? Can you believe it that we are at the end of this semester? We are about to end it all. Man, I am so excited for you all. I'm hoping that you all learned a lot during this class. But here is the final exam. Here is the final review for the final exam. And what my hope is that you guys put in the work so that when you show up to that exam, you can be successful. All right. What we're going to be doing today is three main things. All right. The first thing is we're going to set up our Excel templates. The second thing is we're going to review for the exam. Third thing is we're going to go over similar questions like you guys will see on the exam and hopefully work your templates to make sure that they are working correctly. Now, please be reminded that you can always go back into the old homework assignments and actually practice with your Excel templates with different numbers to see if it's actually working, to see if you're able to handle the real environment or what you will really see when you show up to this exam. You can do this. We believe in you. You got this. All right, so let's set up our Excel templates. Let's do a nice review. And then let's see if our templates actually work. So to do this, what I'm going to do is start off by sharing my screen with you all. Today, what we're going to be covering for this exam 3 is chapters 12, chapters 13, chapters 14, and 15. So if you guys can go into your classroom, I'm going to hide this for a second. All right, if you can, go into your classroom, go into your classroom resources, all right, and scroll down. We're going to set up our Excel templates first. So we're going to start off with chapters 12. Click it and download it, please. All right, that's my first one. I'm going to enable it. Great. Minimize that. And I'm going to close that one out. We got chapters 12. Now, get chapters 13, please. Look for it. It's right here. Download it. All right. Enable it. Cool, and minimize it. All right, minimize 12 as well. Close this out. All right, and look for 14 and 15. All right, I believe this one is it right here. Yep, homework assignment 14, 15. Download it, please. Click OK. Enable it. All right, so you have the three templates that we're going to be using, and we're going to make one Excel template out of these three. So what I want you to do right now is to right-click or double tap on your Excel file. Basically, just open a new Excel file. So you can right-click and just click on Excel 2016, or just open up a new Excel file however you can. All right, just do that. All right, so here is my new sheet. All right, so what we're going to do is move and copy some examples in 12, 13, 14, and 15 into this Excel spreadsheet right here, this blank book one Excel spreadsheet that we have right here. So what I want you to do is we're going to start off with 12. All right, so if you go to 12, on 12, let's see how many will show up on 12. All right, for chapters 12, we have two problems, 12.03 and 12.07. So what I would like you guys to do on 12 is select 12.03, click it, all right, and also press down on your control button and press 12.07. These two will be similar questions to these two will be on your exam. All right. So if you were to right click on them, all right, and what we're going to do is move or copy. All right. And we're going to select that new book, and that one is still called book 1. All right, click it. All right, and we're going to move it. We're going to move it to the end. Move it to the end, and then create a copy. So book 1, move to the end, create a copy, and click on OK. You cannot copy or move a group or sheet that contains a table. Ooh, yes. All right, so I think, let me see this. Give me a second here. I don't think it likes, yes, even if it's a table, I think you can only move it one at a time. Let's see. Let me see if I can create that. All right. So you can only move it one at a time if it has a table in it. Note to self, tricks and tips, right? All right, so go back to 12. Go back to 12, grab 12.07 and move that individually. See, I always look for the fastest and easiest way to get it done. Move it to the end, make a copy, create a copy, and click on OK. Bam. So we got those two in there. Cool. So now you can close out of chapters 12 because each one of these Excels that you have open will take up a lot of resources. So close them out as soon as you're done with them. Close that out. Good. Now, if you guys can, please open chapters 13. Click it. All right, here's chapters 13. What are the questions for chapters 13? All right, there's 3 questions that will show up on your exam for chapters 13. 1305, 1306, and 1315. 5, 6, 15. All right. So 5. I'm just going to do all 3 just to see if I can. Maybe there's a table involved, so I can. 5, 6, and I think I said 15. Let me go back just to make sure. 5, 6, and 15. Yes. All right, so I got 5, 6, and 15. I'm going to right click. I'm going to move or copy. I'm going to find book 1. I'm going to move it to the end. I'm going to create a copy, and then I'm going to click OK. Yes. So I don't have to do them individually. All right. So let's go back into 13, close that out. All right, perfect. Now, let's go into 14 and 15, please. In this one, there's 5 questions that are coming out of this one. All right. So because I just did this in my class, I know which 5 they are. So it's going to be 1401, 1418, and MC 14.035. All right. Also, it's going to be 15.13 and MC 15.075. All right, so that's a lot that I've selected. I'm going to move this over, right click, move or copy. I'm going to select book 1. I'm going to move it to the end, and I'm going to create a copy, and I'm going to press OK. All right, so these are the ones that you will see from chapters 14. So you should see 5 of them: 14.01, 18, 35, and then 15.13.075. Those are the 5 for chapters 14 and 15. Now, some of you guys have already done this on your homework assignment, on your Excel templates that you had that you submitted for your homework. Use those versions. Don't download the new versions. Use the ones that you've already used on your homework. If you did not use it on the homework, this is the process you should use. If you've already done it on the homework and it works on the homework, make sure that you're copying those Excel templates and pasting them in here. Once you have that set up, now we can actually do a quick review on this whole chapters 12, 13, 14, and 15. All right, so this is half the battle. We got all the data that we need. All right, now for sheet 1, we do not need sheet 1. So please right click on sheet 1 or double tap if you're a Mac user and go to delete. Now, just make sure that you're deleting the right one, because if you delete, it's gone forever. So delete the right one, tips and tricks, right? And delete. All right, so we're gonna start off with 12.03 once we get into the test of our templates. All right, so now that we have that, what I'm gonna do is minimize this. I'm gonna close out chapters 14 and 15. All right, I don't need it saved. All right, I'm gonna close this out. All right. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to open up Cengage because you guys can bounce between different chapters within Cengage and test out this. This is just an extra test to see if your templates are actually working. What we ultimately want you guys to do is to be fruitful and multiply. Find out what actually works. That's the fruit. And how did you actually do it to make it work? That is the multiplication part of it. Once you have a process that works, you can multiply it and make sure it works every single time. So when you guys show up to this exam, man, you are ready to go. You are ready to multiply a successful process like you did in the homework and like you did preparing for this exam. Let's go. This is actually good and would actually work in any class that you go to. As you're doing the homework, as you're doing any kind of practice, what your mindset should be is like, yo, how can I replicate this? How can I multiply this? How can I make it do what it do every time hit or fort? All right. And this is what we're doing in our class. All right. So with that said, let's get into the review for this exam. All right. So we're going to cover chapters 12, 13, 14, and 15. So exam 3, study guide, please open this up. Some of you guys may say, oh, I don't know where to find the study guide. Let me show you where to find the study guide before I actually start that. All right, there's a Trello board below in the description of this video. You will see, I will provide you this link to this Trello board for students. All right, and in this Trello board, you're going to find all kinds of resources. But if you scroll over to exam 3 notes, you're going to see recordings for all the homework, helps, tricks, and tips for each homework assignment. You're also going to see exam 3 study guide and recordings. If you click on that, you'll be able to see the videos, you'll be able to see the PowerPoint for this study guide that we're about to do. All right, so I'm going to go back in there. I'm going to open up a laser pointer and let's get into BUS352 exam 3 study guide. Make sure your Excel templates work. Make sure you understand the question. If you don't understand the question before the exam, reach out to your professor and be like, please help me with this. Let me make sure I have a system that I can replicate. All right. On this exam, all we're going to be covering is these two, the goodness of fit test and the test for independence. Let me give you a high-level overview of these two. Both of these are hypothesis testing, all right? We're plugging information and down here is the hypothesis test. Now, when you see rejected, in your mind's eye, what you are saying is that one of these categories is not a good fit. So somewhere in your notes, write that down. If down here it says do not reject, then at least or all of these categories are a good fit. So when we're looking at the goodness of fit test, as you're plugging in your information, what you're looking for is right down here, rejected or do not reject. Is it a good fit or is it not a good fit? If it says rejected, it is not a good fit. All right, make sure that you're knowing what your hypothesized value is. When we go over the example, you will see what the hypothesized value is. You should be plugging in this information right here, this information right here. These should already be set. If they're not, make sure you set them correctly and you will get your hypothesis results. For the test for independence, all you guys will need to do is plug in your information up here. All right. Once you've plugged in your information up here, then you will get your results down here. Now, the null hypothesis is that these two variables are independent of each other. They don't have any linkage towards each other. They're independent of each other. If it says rejected, then that means that these two variables are dependent on each other, or they're a better way, or one of the ways that Cengage writes it is that it is not independent. So one is dependent, one is independent. When it says rejected, it means that it's dependent on each other. All right, gender versus, let's say this is the type of chocolate you like. All right, so between gender and the type of chocolate you like, if it says rejected, it means that both of them are dependent on each other based on the data that you have entered. All right, that is chapters 12. So we'll be able to plug in our information and hopefully you can tell what the results are. Chapters 13, we dealt with ANOVA, analysis of variance. Now, this is not a variance test as per se. What we're looking at is means, and we're looking at if there's variation in the means. Are these means equal, or is there a difference between one of these means? If it says rejected down here, y'all, what that means is that one of these means is not equal. It is just that simple for ANOVA testing, analysis of variance testing. You guys are going to need to learn how to do it the manual way, and you're going to need to know how to do it using the data analysis toolkit. And hopefully today we can go over at least the analysis toolkit. All right. You will get this stuff really fast. But the question then is what does this data actually say? What is this output actually saying to you? All right, here are all of your sample sizes. Here, if you sum up all of your values in this is what the sum is of all of these numbers. Automatically within 10 seconds or less, you can get this output right here. What is the average of this first one, the second one, the third one? What is the variance? You got all of that stuff automatically within a couple of seconds. What does the ANOVA table actually tell us? The two main parts that I really want you to focus on is right here, your F value and your F crit value. F value is your test statistic. This is your critical value. This is the boundary that separates the rejection area from the area that is not rejected. Remember, this is a right-tailed test, all right? So anything greater than the critical value is rejected. Anything less than the critical value is not rejected. So right here, you see that this number is huge. It's 9 compared to 3.88, all right? In essence, what that means is that these methods are, at least one of them, are not equal. If I can break it down just as simply, at least one of these methods is not equal. And that's what the ANOVA test is doing for you, all right? Last but not least, we're dealing with regression. I don't know how you guys got this lesson for regression, but I want you to understand that regression is my favorite hypothesis test. It allows you to do three main things. It allows you to determine the strength, the correlation between your variables, your independent variable and your dependent variable. It allows you to make predictions, and you can actually use it to forecast different items and different things by using a simple line formula. You guys know what the line formula is. Y is equal to mx plus b. Well, we're using that concept of that line formula, y is equal to mx plus b, to help us understand the correlation, to help us understand and make predictions and forecast on any kind of independent variable as it relates to the dependent variable. Some of you guys might be wondering, all right, so how do I figure out what is my independent variables and what is my dependent variables? The dependent variable is that variable that is dependent on those things that are independent. I don't want to confuse you any, but think of it like this. If I'm a golfer and I want to know how far I can hit the ball, those total yards, all right, is my dependent variable. My independent variable is how fast I swing that club. All right. My independent variable is at what angle do I hit the ball at to get to that yardage. That's an independent variable. Another independent variable is how fast did I hit that ball? How fast is that ball going? All of those things, all of those independent variables add up to my dependent variable of how far I hit that ball. For me, I hit that ball like 600 yards. No. If I get 200 yards, I'm like, yo, man, did you see how far I hit that? Anyways, but the whole concept of chapters 14 and 15 is we're looking at this simple line formula to tell us whether to understand the strengths, all right, the correlation between these variables, to understand and predict what is going to happen in the future, and even to forecast. All right. How do you know what the answers are based on this output right here? Let me zoom in and kind of show you. It has an ANOVA section. In the ANOVA section right here, this number right here and this number right here are vitally important. Like in the ANOVA in chapters 13, they provided you a critical value. You don't see one in this regression analysis. But if the number is big, like a 74, anything over like 20, you would say, yo, man, that's in the rejection zone, because this is still a right-tailed test. All right. So this will be in the rejection zone. And once it's in the rejection zone, what that means is that at least one of your independent variable affects your dependent variable. All right. So at least how fast you swing the ball or string the club affects the total distance that you're going to hit that ball. At least the angle at which you hit the ball at is going to affect the total distance. So this number tells you just that. An easy way to understand this, guys, is your significance of F. This is the same as your p-value or your overall p-value. All right. So right here, you guys are going to see 2.55 e to the negative 0.5. E to the negative 0.5 is say, please move this decimal places 5 places to the left. So this number would be basically 0. All right. Is 0 less than 0.05 your alpha value? Yes, it is. You see right here, or in this example here, my alpha value is 0.01. All right. But if this was 95, my alpha value will be 0.05. All right. This is still less than 0.05. It's in the rejection zone, y'all. So therefore, in this example right here, at least one of these variables, all right, the independent variables affects my dependent variable. All right, let me see, B1 to B11. All right, so in this case, my dependent variable is sales. Y is your dependent variable. X is your independent variable. This is your independent variable. Sales is my dependent variable Y. All right, so with that said, that is a quick review of chapters 14. Chapters 15 follows the same process. You will do a regression analysis. You will have your information right up in here, and you'll be able to answer things like, give me a second. You'll be able to answer things like, what is your coefficient of determination, this value right here? You'll plug in what they give you, your SST, your SSE, calculate your SSR. All you're doing is these two right here, and you will get your result right here. All right, so with that said, let's get into our actual templating and making sure that our templates actually work. In chapters 12, there are 2 questions that you guys are going to be, you guys are going to have to answer and answer it correctly. All right, so here is an example. Each person's numbers are going to be different. So please make sure that at least you practice on this number that we have right here, because we have the answers for these right here and right now. So practice this on your Excel, all right? So it says, during the first 13 weeks, all right, of a television season, the Saturday evening 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. audience, all right, proportions were recorded. These are the proportions that were recorded. These are the historical data. These are your hypothesized values that are recorded. So if you guys can, open up your Excel, please. Let me find that. All right, I'm gonna make it somewhat smaller if I can bring it out like that. Good. We're gonna start off with 12.03. All right. Every time I move it, it's gonna ask me to redo that. All right. So what does this mean? These percentages right here are my hypothesized values. Do you see 4 of them? Plug in all 4. But you have to change it to a decimal, 0.3, 0.27, 0.25. Test it out on yours, please. These are your historical hypothesized values. Now, what are the observations at A? Now, you got to make sure that your templates are doing what it do for you. It has to be relevant to the example that you're looking at. Right here, we had category A. But this first one is ABC, change it. The second one is CBS. Third one is NBC. And the third one is independent. I'm just gonna put IND. All right, if you wanna type it out, great, you can. All right, so what is my observation for my first one, my ABC? Cool, plug it in. What is my second observation? Cool. Third, cool, and fourth. All right, looking good. So we got 300. We got all of that stuff in there. Let me try to raise this up a little bit so I can see more of it. All right, what is my confidence coefficient? All right, let me show you this. It says my alpha value is 0.05. So won't my confidence coefficient be 0.95 to give me an alpha value of 0.05? Hopefully you're not messing that up. Put in 0.05, all right? Now, how do you calculate your degrees of freedom? Degrees of freedom is equal to C minus 1. What does that mean? How many categories do you have? So it's equal to whatever shows up in your exam, 4 minus 1. All right, 4 categories, minus 1, and that will give you 3. Once you have this, you should have everything that you need for this example right here. Do you see it says do not reject? So what that means is that all 4 of these categories are a good fit together. Let's go back into this. So on the exam, it's going to say, what is your test statistic? All right. If you look down here, you'll see test statistic is this number. Please don't mess this up. If they say 2 decimal places, put in 2 decimal places. If they say 4 decimal places, put in 4 decimal places. All right. What is your p-value? All right. Make sure that you have the between numbers correct. And then what is your conclusion? There's no significant evidence that proves that these are not a good fit. So when it says do not reject, it's no significance. All right. If it says rejected, then there is significance. All right. So hopefully your Excel template is set up correctly. All right. On your Excel template, you might want to put in there a conclusion. All right. If I were you, I would put right next to here. You got to make a note to yourself. Make it do what it do for you. I will put do not reject equals no significance. Let me see, make sure I write it the way they are spelling it. If I see significant. All right, and then what I'm going to do is Alt and Enter to go down. Reject equals and just put it down the same way they put it, significant. So whichever one it shows up on your end, all right, I'm going to spread that out like that so you can see it. All right, so if it says do not reject, it's not significant. If it says rejected, it is significant. All right, hopefully you got that set up correctly. All right, before we go anywhere, make sure you save this Excel. So go to File, Save As. All right, I'm just going to put it on my desktop, put it somewhere on your computer that you can find it, someplace on there. All right, so I'm just going to call mine Exam 3 and save it. All right, so I got that in there. It's going to load. Excellent. All right, the next question that we're going to go to is 12.07. 12.07. We're going to go back to this. We got that correct. Good job. Here's the next question. The following table contains observed frequencies for a sample of 200. All right, so all of these will add up to 200. And test for independence. So we're using the test for independence, and we're going to try with an alpha value of 0.05. All right. So what they're asking for is the test statistic, the p-value, and the conclusion. All right. So we get to plug in our information, all right, get our answers, and determine whether to accept or reject, and what conclusion can we make. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. So I'm going to go back into here. I'm going to drag this down right here, and let's plug in our information. Now, please be aware that P and Q is in our rows, A, B, and C are in our columns. Make sure on your exam, you're taking 25 and go across and go down basically. So 25, enter, 50, so that's working, enter, and 40. So if you need to make a note to yourself, make a note to yourself. All right, on this one right here is 25, 20, and 40. All right, so you have your information in there. Automatically, let me maximize this. Your expected frequencies will be calculated for you. All right, so what is your test statistic? Now, on the exam, you don't need this part right here. So you guys can just delete it. All right, so just press delete. So that way it doesn't mess you up. All right, well, right here, what is your test statistic? Put equals to, click it. What is your p-value? I believe on this exam, the p-value is when they like to do the between. Yes, so make sure you have the right p-value in yours. And what conclusion? It is not independent. That's how they say it. So when it's rejected, it is not independent. So let me go back. I want to make sure that our Excel conclusion, all right, I'm going to put in do not reject is independent. And I'm going to press Alt and enter. If you're a Mac user, Option and enter. And rejected means not independent. All right, so make sure you're putting a note to yourself so that way, whichever way it goes, you know how to put in your conclusion. Set yourself up for success. Looking good so far. All right, let's go over to chapters 13. All right, you should have chapters 12 down pat. Let's move on to chapters 13. Chapters 13 has 3 questions. So take your time on these, make sure you knock them out correctly. In a completely randomized design, 12 experimental units were used for the first treatment, 13 for the second, 20, and so on for the third. Can you complete all of this? All right. So what we're using is this ANOVA table right here. Up here is your calculations. All you have to do is put in your treatments. All right. So we got 12, 15, and 20, 12, 15, and 20. They're also going to provide you these 2 numbers right here, your treatment and your total right here. All right, so once you have these two values right here, once you have this and this and this, you should be able to answer everything else. All right, so it's gonna look like this. They're gonna provide you 1300, 1700, all right, and you should be able to get the rest of these. Let's see how this works. All right, I'm just gonna drag this down like this. I'm gonna make it smaller so I can see it in totality. All right, so treatment 1, plug in your number. Treatment 2, and treatment 3. Cool. Automatically, everything else is updated but these two right here. All right. For this one, in my example, they're going to provide you is 1300. And then this one is 17. Give me a second. 1700. Hey, what happened? All right. Give me numlock 1700. All right, enter. Everything else is populated. Check to make sure that it is matching, that it is identical. Let me, give me a second here. Let me do that. All right, and I'm gonna scroll this up. 400 to 44, everything is right. Let me slide that over. Let me expand that out. 0. All right, so everything appears to be right. Make sure that your template is right. All you would then have to do is plug this information into the exam and you should be good to go. So that should be pretty easy. All right, looking good so far. All right, they're also going to ask you, what is your p-value? Please, your p-value is right here. All right, put in the right p-value. Oh, well, this one is saying it's less than. So figure out the right one. And what is the conclusion? All right, can I conclude that the means of the 3 treatments are equal? If it's rejected, y'all, it is not equal. Okay, so this is a good note to self. All right, up here, let me see. You have your critical value. So hopefully you guys can see, put a note to self. If F, and I'm just going to put capital F, is greater than F crit, then it is rejected. What I'm trying to do, you don't have to use my same words, but what I'm trying to do is like make it do what it do for you, make it make sense to you. If this number is big, then it's rejected, all right? And rejected means cannot conclude that the mean of the 3 treatments are equal. All right, so that way you're giving yourself a heads up. If it's not, it's the opposite of this. So make it do what it do for you. I would even make it bold, you know what I'm saying? So that way you are aware of this and you remember it next time you see it, so you know what is actually happening. All right. That's the first one in chapters 13. Second one in chapters 13. The F ratio in a completely randomized ANOVA is the ratio of what? What is the, in other words, this is complicated, but what this is basically saying, yo, what is the formula for F? The formula for FSTAT is this value right here. So on your Excel template, go to this guy right here. Make sure you are using that one right there. All right, on your exam, don't be showing up there clicking something else. That is your correct answer. All right. And one more for chapters 13. All right, they're going to provide you these 3 data points right here, these 3 variables, variable 1, variable 2, variable 3. All right, and you guys are going to have to do an ANOVA analysis. And once you're done, your results should look like this. So if I were you guys, what I will do is go back into here, go to 13, all right? Let's plug in these numbers, please. Remember, take your time. If junk in will give you junk out. Take your time with these. All right, so you have your data. I'm going to maximize this. What they want you to do is to do a ANOVA single factor analysis toolkit. So if you click on data analysis, I'm going to pin this so I can see this. Data analysis. And we're looking for ANOVA single factor, the very first one. Click on OK. For your input, select them all, y'all. All of them, all 3 of them. All right. So it should go from A1 to C5. All right. It is in a column. We're going to select labels. We're going to put our output right at F1. And that's it, y'all. Just click on OK. Splacka, you got your results right here. Here is your ANOVA table right down here. All right. So what you need to do now is, what is your SS treatments? Put equals to. All right. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to make this very small so I can see this. All right. I'm going to make it small so I can see both of them. Hopefully you can see the areas that I'm highlighting. Just put equals to. All right. You see the equals to sign right there? And select SST. This first one is your treatment. The between the groups is your treatment. Press enter. Listen, make this do what it do for you. I will put in right here treatment. All right. I would even move it over to the side like that. I can make it bold. So I know that that's a treatment. All right. This one right here is your error. I'm going to make that bold as well. Actually, let me select it all, make it bold, press enter, and I'm going to move it over as well. I'm going to do a line right. All right. And this is your total. So you don't need any information on the total. All right. So what is your treatment? What is your SS error? Put equals to and select the error, the second number. Press enter. The MS treatment equals to. MS treatment is the first one. Enter. Then the next one is equals to, and then put in that guy right there. Enter. All right. What is your F-stat value? Equals to, here is your F-stat. All right. And if I were you, right up top here, I will put in test STAT. So that way you know that that is your F-stat value. What is your p-value is right here. All right. What is your conclusion? All right. Hopefully you're seeing that. Let me zoom in so you can see this. Hopefully you are seeing that F-stat is 46. Your critical value is 4.25. If this number is bigger than this, it's in the rejection zone. All right. So at least one of your means is not equal. At least 1, 2, or 3 is not equal. All right. Let's see what else do they want for this problem right here. So we got that. This is how it's filled out. All right. It shows you exactly which numbers go where. Cool, cool, cool. And the conclusion is that you cannot conclude. All right. That they're equal, in other words. Same thing like we just did before, that you cannot conclude that they are equal. Now, it also wants you to know what your LSD Fisher value is. On this, it is incorrect. Make sure you do the right one. All right, watch this, watch this, watch this. I'm going to go back to this guy. I'm going to maximize this guy. Do you see how we have 1, 2, 3, 4, a sample size of 4? And down here, it says a sample size of 6. You must change that to 4 in order to get your right LSD. Scroll down and scroll over This is your correct LSD. So make sure you press enter on this last one. All right, so everything else could register correctly like this. Your correct LSD is 3.54. Please note that to self. All right, I'm hoping that you guys got through this. Your correct Fisher's LSD is 3.54. Set up your Excel template and make sure that it is correct. 3.54 is the correct Fisher's LSD. All right. That is chapters 13, believe it or not. We are rolling. All right. Let's go. Chapters 14 and 15 has 5 problems. Chapters 14 has 3. Chapters 15 has 2. Let's knock these out. Chapters 14, they're going to provide you your X is your independent variable, your Y is your dependent variable. Can you determine if your independent variable affects your dependent variable? Yes, you can, man. Yes, you can. You're also going to have to do a scatter plot, all right, and a trend line, all right? And we're going to show you guys how to do that. We're going to do a regression analysis. Please be reminded that B0 comes first. Where do you find B0? This is your B0. This is your B1. Where do you find B0? That first number under coefficients is B0, then B1. B0, B1. So it looks like this. And they go up here like that. B0, then B1. Please don't mess that up. All right. And then they're going to ask you to calculate your X. If your X is 5 or whichever number they provide you on the exam, all you do is plug it into your X value and automatically you will find what predicted value it will be. All right, so let me show you how this works. I'm going to go back into this. We're going to go into, where am I at? 14.01. All right, I'm going to scroll up and I'm going to minimize it. So for my xi, I'm plugging in those values. Yep, make sure you type in the right numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your y values. All right, so we got all of that right there. I'm going to maximize this. Once you have your data, you guys are going to then be required to do a regression analysis. You got to go data, data analysis, scroll down until you see regression. Then click on OK. All right, what is my Y? Guys, a lot of you guys are going to mess this up. Make sure you're selecting the Y, your dependent variable. Does it not say YI? The I represents an index, a list of numbers. So all you would do is click on here, click from Y all the way down. For your X, click in here, click from X all the way down, and it automatically selects it. We're going to do labels, confidence level, always at 95. We're going to leave it at 95. And our output, we're going to put it right at this orange box right down here. So click in this box right here and click on I13. Now, we're not going to mess with any of these residuals or normal probability plots down here. All right. All we need is this upper information right here. Press OK. And splacka, you got your results right down here. B0 comes first, B1 comes second. All right. B0, B1. All right. So let's plug in the information and let's see what else do we need. All right. So the first thing is they want to know how to do the scatter plot. Right here is your scatter diagram. I'm going to scroll over. You guys see how that is actually automatically updated for you. Suppose somehow your scatter diagram got deleted. How do you create the scatter diagram? Just highlight your data and do insert. This guy with the dotty one right here, scatter, and select the first one. All right, you see how it pops up down there? That is your scatter diagram. Cool. Now, on here, it also asks you for a trend line. If you click on this
and click on the plus sign, you can add a trend line. For my Mac users, you don't have a plus sign. If you double click, all right, you'll see add chart elements. All right, you can go down to trend line and select linear, and that will give you your trend line. All right. So let's see what else do we need to have in here. B0, B1, all right. Now, how do you find this predicted value right here? All you're doing is plugging in your X value. So we got B0, B1. I want to make a prediction of X being 5. On your exam, it's going to be like X equals 2 or X equals 1. Whichever X value it is, plug it in right here. I'm going to put 5 in mine, and watch how automatically when I press enter, it's going to show me my predicted value. Bam, 14. Let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, we're almost done. All right, I'm going to do that. All right, let's move on. This is another question that you guys are going to see on your exam, or a similar question. They're going to give you price, they're going to give you score. Out of price and score, which one is your independent variable and which one is your dependent variable? Remember, X is your independent, Y is your dependent. All right, so open up that Excel template, and I'm going to go like that. All right, and I'm going to scroll over. This is 14.18. All right, I'm going to scroll up and enter this information right in there. Remember, one of the hardest things to do is to enter your information correctly. Let me see, I'm going to start by 3. Actually, I'm just going to slide this up over here like this. Cool. Plug in your information, take your time. Cool. And then plug in the next side. All right, once you have your data in there, then I want you to maximize it. Let me close this out. You guys don't need to see that. All right, and we're gonna do a regression analysis of this data right here. Data analysis, regression, okay. All right, what is my Y? Make sure you're selecting Y. All right, X, highlight it, and just click on price all the way down. Labels, that, I'm gonna put my output right here at this orange box, I13, and I'm gonna press OK. All right, here is my output right here. Now, as I have my output, I'm gonna see my B0, my B1, everything already calculated for me. So if I minimize this, and they're asking for my SST is this number right here, but please be aware that they're looking for 3 decimal places. If you don't set this up correctly to 3 decimal places, you will be incorrect. All right, so please make sure that you set this up to 3 decimal places. Oh, and here's a note to self. For your predicted value, please make sure that you set this up. And let me move this. I'm going to go to home. I'm going to move it over 1 decimal place. Make sure you have 14.2. They want 1 decimal place on this value right here, the one before. All right. So with that said, let's go over to 18. All right. Make sure that all of these are set to 3 decimal places. So if I were you, I will go from my SST to my SSE. SSR, SSE, SST, and change it over to 3 decimal places. 1, 2, 3. All right. Cool. And these should be 3 decimal places as well. All right. So now, here is your output. All right. Here is your SST, SSR, SST, and the residual, please note to self, is your SSE. SSE is this number right here. So it looks like this. That's that number. And that's that number. And that is that number. So if I were you guys, and I'm just saying, make it do what it do for you. All right. Your SS, this guy right here is your error. All right. And I'm just going to make that bold. I'm going to make it bigger. All right. And I'm going to push it over to the right. So that way I know that my residual is my error. Make it do what it do. All right. And then what is your R squared? Guys, it says R squared right here. That is your R squared number. All right. Then it's going to ask questions like the least squared line, provided a good fit or did not provide a good fit. And you got to end up with larger for this section right here. And the last part of it is what is your R, X, Y value? All right. And it's that number right there. What is your R, X, Y? It is your multiple R value. All right. So on your Excel, if I were you, all right, let me maximize this so you can see this. All right. Down here is your R squared. I'm going to zoom in so you could see this. Down here is your R squared. Listen, make it do what it do for you. Highlight it. Make it bigger so you could see this. Bold it. Make it red or something. So next time you show up, listen, you're paying attention to this. Also, your R, X, Y as well. Make it bigger. Make it bold. Give me a second here. All right, and make it red. So when you show up to that exam, you know exactly what to look, where to look for your R squared value and your multiple R or your sample coefficient or correlation coefficient, R, X, Y, they are right here. All right, so I'm gonna make that just a tad bit smaller. All right, make that back and you're good to go. All right, so let's keep this going. You will also have a similar question like this. Actually, if the coefficient of determination is a positive value, then the regression equation is what? Please note to self, it could have either a positive or a negative slope. So on your Excel, make sure that you have that correct. It could have a positive or a negative slope. Cool. 5.13, we are almost done. We got 2 more questions to go. That is chapters 14. Let's get into chapters 15. These 2 questions right here. First similar question that you're going to see is 15.20. They're going to provide you 2 independent variables and 1 dependent variable. Can you do a regression analysis of this and get these answers? Yes, you can. So I'm going to show you a quick example of how to do that. All right. Actually, look at that. We downloaded 15.13. We need to download 15.20. 15.20. So 15.20, let's go back. Let me get my Excel. Give me a second. I'm going to maximize this, and we need to download 15.20. So open back up 14 and 15, if I could find it. All right, can't find it there, so I know I downloaded it. Okay, 14 and 15. And we need to open up, give me a second here. This is why we always want to make sure that we're prepped and prepared. 15.20. All right, 15.20 is this one right here. Right click, move or copy. All right, we're going to move it to the end. Scroll down, move it to the end. Make sure that you're selecting exam 3. That's what I called mine. Whatever you called it to, move that to the end. Scroll down, move it to the end, and make a copy. And press OK. All right. So this one is right here. And actually this one will come before, so you can drag it back over to this guy right here. All right, and we can actually delete 15.13. So right click on it, delete it, we don't need them. All right, so what they're gonna ask you to do is a regression analysis like this. All right, so we got that. All right, and I'm gonna close out 15 right there. Cool, let me go back to my PowerPoint. All right, here are my numbers. Here's my Excel. All right, I'm gonna make that a little bigger so I can plug all of these in. I believe on the exam, you can highlight and copy it over directly, but if you cannot, take your time and plug these in. All right. Actually, you know what? A quicker way of doing this is going to this. If you go into the regular template, can I, it's a picture, never mind. I was hoping I could copy it so I don't have to do it the hard way. All right, the long way. That's okay. I will plug these in. So we got 25. All right, sometimes our mind play tricks on us. So please, once you're done with, if you're plugging in any type of number on the exam, double check to make sure that your numbers are right. This is not a rush to get this done fast so you could bounce out of there. This is time for you to make sure that you get this as right as possible. All right. All right. So here are your numbers. Here are your numbers. So let me make sure I got them all right. 77, 59, okay. 13, 17, 619, 16, good. 95, 113, good, good, good. All right, so everything appears to be right on my end. Now, you guys get to do a regression analysis of 2 independent variables. How do you do that? Data, data analysis, and you do regression, click on OK. All right, this is your Y variables. Highlight it, and then highlight Y all the way down. These are your X variables. Select from your X1, go over to your X2, and go down all the way to the last number. Labels, we're going to put our output right at H1. All right, and press OK. And it shows up right here. So for me, I want to see how all of this stuff looks. So I'm just going to go between them, spread them out, double click between them. Anything like I can't see, like significance of F, I will just probably double click on that so I can see it clearly. All right. What is my F stat value? Put equals to. Actually, let me make that just a tad bit smaller so I can see it all. I think that's all I need. Put equals to F stat. All right. We're going to see how they're asking for the p-value. If they want this value right here, please put a note to yourself, P. Actually make this overall p-value. So that way you know that that's what this is. All right, overall model is what? All right, what is your TB1? Put equals to. Your TB1 is your test statistic for B1. This is this number right here, the second one in the middle. Because remember, B1 is the second number. B0 comes first, B1 comes second, B2 comes third. But this is your, I believe is your beta value. Anyways, we put that in there. What is your TB2? Equals to this number right here. All right. And then what is your p-value? Your p-value is actually this second one right here, and then this third one right here. But let's see how Cengage is asking for those questions. Here's your output, your F-stat value, bam. Your p-value, yeah, they're still doing less than. And this one is significant, all right? If this number is e to the negative 0.5, that's a zero value. So that's less than your alpha value. So then there's significance that you're dealing with. So make sure you plug that into your Excel template. On here, here is your TB1. TB1 is 7.78 or 8.78 right here. All right, and then, yeah, they're doing less than. Mine is a little off in my PowerPoint for some reason. All right, 5.26 right down here, good. All right, less than, and it is significant. All right, make sure that you set up 1520 correctly. All right, and then here is your last one, 15.075. If they provide you SST right here, if they provide you SSE right here, can you calculate the coefficient of determination right here? Yes, you can. In this answer, the answer is actually going to be 0.65. Well, let me show you in Excel how to make sure that this one is right, just in case these numbers change on your exam. All right, on here, I'm going to put that information right here, somewhere here. All right. If you can, please go over. We don't even have it in here. Let me see. For you guys. All right, so I'm gonna have to, if I were you guys, please download back again chapters 14 and 15's template. All right, download chapters 14 and 15's template. We got to copy one more thing out of this. If you guys go into the formula key for 14 or for 15, formula key 15, scroll down. I want you to highlight this section right here, just like I have it highlighted, from SSR all the way down to this green box right here. Copy it, Control C. All right, copy it, go back into your exam template and paste it right there, Control V or Command V, just like that. All right, and we're gonna spread this out so I can see it all clearly, like that. Maybe I'll go a little bit more, something like that. So my R squared shows up in that same line. Enter. All right. What is my SST 120? What is my SSE 42? How do I calculate my SSR? Here's the formula. Grab it, copy it, double click and paste. SST is this number right here. SSE, double click and select this number right here. When I press enter, automatically my coefficient of determination will be calculated for me. Bam. All right, so the answer is 0.65. All right, I'm going to put that red so that way I don't mess it up. If they change the numbers on me, I have a process in place to get the right answers. All right, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to close this one out. All right, go back to my PowerPoint. Believe it or not, that is the end of this review for exam 3. All right, you guys have the ability to set yourself up for success. Show up to that exam with your shoulders held high, like, yo, I am prepared, I'm ready to rock and roll. I have a process in place that can work and that can get me that A. Guys, you can do this. We believe in you. You got this. Put in the work. Make sure you study this over and over again. Use the homework assignment to go in there and get some more practice, and then show up to that exam with confidence so you can get out of here and keep this pushing. Use this information wherever you go and be a blessing wherever God places you. Thank you so much for being a part of our class. I enjoyed hanging out with you. Have a great future ahead.